of political parties to bus them to registration centers.
My assemblyman brought me here. He used his own car.
His own car to bring you here?
Personally, it's about conveying them myself in my car, personally here. I mean, since 4 a.m. I've been here.
And top story, as always, is brought to you by Vodafone. Further together. My name is Blessed Sogah. And tonight, Jean Adwoa Safo, Ghana's Electoral Commission chair, is being accused of evading service of a court injunction seeking to hold her commission from proceeding with the limited voters registration exercise, which is already underway across various district offices of the Electoral Commission nationwide. For 3 consecutive days, lawyers and court bailiffs have been purportedly locked out from gaining access to the premises of the Electoral Commission on grounds being described by the search party as bizarre. Today, the story was no different as lawyers for the 18-year-old plaintiff, Precious Eita, who secured a contempt application against the EC, were prevented allegedly by officers of the Ghana Police Service from entering the premises of the EC headquarters in Accra based on, quote, an order from above. Who's giving this order? Joining us now is James Kwesi Aveji, who was there when all of this unfolded and has details of what the concerns of these lawyers are. First, though, James, give us a background of the individual involved, 18-year-old Precious Eita. What's her concern and who is she?
Okay, so Blessed, from the court document that we have, this Precious Eita is actually 18 years old. She resides in Afienya, and she actually filed this application at a high court in Tema. And so that's what we know about her.
But the lawyers, as we know, for 3 days have been unsuccessful at getting all of this service to reach the Electoral Commission. Today marks day 3, the third attempt that the lawyers have made, and still they've been unable to, enter the premises. First of all, today we understand there's an order, quote, from above, that they cannot gain access to the EC headquarters. What transpired between the lawyers, the bailiffs, and also the servicemen, ostensibly from the Ghana Police Service, who were there to prevent these individuals from getting access?
Blessed, so this morning at about 10 a.m. when we got to the EC's premises, just a few minutes later, the lawyer as well as the bailiff arrived. In fact, he's member of the legal team and the bailiff arrived. And so the first thing I did was to approach them and had a short interaction with them on their mission there. And then he told me that they are there for the third time to attempt serving this contempt application on the EC. And so I proceeded with them from the junction to the gate of the EC, where we met the servicemen. And then while I was approaching, I had a signal from one of them asking where I'm going. And then I informed him that I'm actually coming with the 2 gentlemen. And so the signal says I needn't proceed any further. And so the 2 of them went, had an interaction with them. I stayed there a bit, and then I came back. So after the interaction, they came back, and then I asked what happened. And he said that they've been told that they cannot access the place. For what reason they've been asked not to access the place? We can hear from a member of the legal team, Joseph Willington Blay.
So far, the message has been simple, that we have to, nobody's allowed to come in or out of, they are not admitting anybody into the EC's premises. That is the message we've been getting. And they've told us that if we want to serve anybody, we have to call the person personally for the person to either come out to come and receive the process. So that is the information that we've been given. We've tried as much as possible to pull strings together so that because the people that we are serving the EC chairperson herself, Dr. Bosman, and then one Mr. Samuel Tete. Those are the people, and it is hard to reach them. So if we're given access, at least the bailiff could have gone inside to attempt service.
What was the reason for not allowing you into the premises?
They didn't offer any reason per se. I think the reason is instructions from above. Nobody's allowed to enter or move out of the premises. So we've been denied access once again.
And lawyers of this 18-year-old prospective first-time voter who are unable to seek justice as they claim. But what will they do knowing that the Electoral Commission purportedly is refusing to cooperate with the court processes? Joining us now is Nikba Kusamwado, lead counsel for the plaintiff Precious Eyitahu. We understand is still making that passionate appeal to the EC to expand the process so she could register within her locality. Thank you, counsel, for spending some time with us here on Top Story. First off, what's the next line of action for your legal team, knowing that your plaintiff may not have a case heard anytime soon?
Well, good evening to your wonderful listeners. I'm happy that this morning Joy FM has settled this debate about whether the Dr. Srebo was speaking the truth to Guardians yesterday when he boldly told everybody on your network that there were no attempts to hinder the service of court processes on the Electoral Commission. I hope Ghanaians have been able to tell who was speaking the truth and who was lying through his teeth. Now, having settled that debate, the law requires that we have to attempt to serve them 3 times. That's the minimum number of times. And once we are not able to serve them, then we have to take the next step, which is to go back to the court and seek a court order to serve them by substituted service. The court will prescribe the mode of service. And so we have taken the necessary steps, and very, very soon, sooner than later, we should be able to obtain the necessary orders from the court and proceed. Let me make this point.
This you presume or
that,
estimate, and
yes.
this you estimate will last for how long?
Oh, let me just make the point that Madam Jean Mensah is not going to escape accountability, and this process we would ensure is respected. And so,
but there's a question I'm asking about the estimated time, knowing that your client, the plaintiff involved now, would need to register within a space of 3 weeks. She has limited time.
So clearly, if you notice, Madame Jean Mensah is seeking to avoid the service of the contempt application because she knows the implication of being served with a contempt application and still proceeding on the very thing that she's going to be held in contempt for. So we are satisfied in our mind that once we obtain the service order in respect of the contempt application, everything will come to a standstill. So let's keep our fingers crossed. We have taken the legal steps. I don't want to go too much into the detail. I want to ensure that it pans out the way we want it, and then we'll revert. So probably we should revert back to you by close of day Tuesday.
And you, the lawyers for this, 18-year-old Precious Eyitahu who's seeking justice in the court and asking the EC to expand the sentence. You've been accused of, perpetuating mischief, if I could call it that way, knowing that, the amount you're spending, first of all, on this process of trying to get her to register could have provided her transport fee just to move to the nearest district office.
It does not lie in the mouth of the person who is suppressing and violating somebody's right to tell the person how he or she should vindicate those rights. It doesn't lie in your mouth. The Ghanaian constitution is very clear. Public officers are supposed to exercise discretionary power within the confines of law without being capricious, without being whimsical, with due process and in utter good faith. Is this the kind of public service that Jean Mensa is exhibiting by seeking to suppress the right of voters to vote. It does not lie in her mouth after seeking to suppress the rights of our client to complain about the mode by which our client seeks to vindicate his rights. She's not a law court, and she's not above the law. That is the point we want to drive home across.
Yeah, but that's not the. That's actually that's not
in Ghana. And let me finish.
Yeah,
there is no institution or person in Ghana above the law. The Electoral Commission is a public place. Under what circumstances does Madame Jean Mensa believe that she has the audacity and the right to prevent court processes and court bailies from entering the public institutions to effect service?
Well, I'm making the point because, I mean, you know, the lawyers actually know that better. The fact that if the service is served on you personally, then this will kick in motion. And that's why, of course, you'd be playing all of these games to try and avoid if your claims are true.
We have met the minimum requirement, which is the 3%.
Yes, so allow me to...
we are going back to the court for the next steps to be taken.
Precisely, but allow me to build the point. The point here is... Lawyer Kwaku, the point here is that the welfare of your plaintiff, she has limited time.
She has 21 days. Did you say she has 21 days?
But
she has 21 days, right?
You could save, I mean, all the trouble by just providing transport. By just providing transport, because you're doing this on pro bono basis.
Affected by this whimsical and capricious abuse of power by the Electoral Commissioner. She's not the only one. Indeed, there's the estimate that there are over 3 million people who are eligible to register as voters. Why should one person determine the fate of 3 million Ghanaians when she's a servant of the people and she's a public servant? We should not allow this. We should not make public servants demigods to the extent that when court processes are being sought to be served on her, she decides whether she will receive the court processes or not. What kind of institution are we building in this country?
Lawyer Pakpo Samuado, just hold on for us because the political parties are also wading in. They tried earlier, 5 of them who are in the courts waiting on the courts to determine the date upon which they'll hear another application which is also coming before the courts asking the Electoral Commission to open up the centers. One of the political parties involved in this is the All People's Congress. Dr. Hassan Ayariga is also joining us the conversation tonight. Thank you, Doc, for spending some time with us. He's also the presidential candidate of the APC going into the 2024 elections. Here you have a clear case, an attempt being made on one side to get an individual who's also asking, the EC to do same, open up the centers so more and more persons can register. That's not successful. You're also not successful at getting the courts to give you a firm date. The date, we understand, might be a later period when the entire exercise elapses in 3 days or 21 days. What then is your new approach towards solving or dealing with this challenge?
Good evening to you and good evening to cherished listeners. I don't think that the delay by the Electoral Commission or by the judges to be the bailiff to be able to serve the Electoral Commission is going to disrupt the activities of our request. Our request is that we want the Electoral Commission to send the machines down to the electoral areas where Ghanaian citizens, young ones who have attained the age of 18 and above, could get easily access.
Dr. Ayariga, I hope you're with me, sir.
Yes, can you hear me very well?
Yeah, we lost you briefly when you were building up that point.
Yes, I'm saying that what we are asking for is a very simple request. Decentralize it to the electoral areas so that Ghanaian young men and women who have attained the age of 18 can easily get access to it. Because you see, the districts are not many. And the distance from one constituency to a district or from one electoral area to a district is huge. It's far. I have been to some of the districts yesterday and today. And I tell you, you get there and there are more than 500 people waiting to be registered. And they have 2 machines there. First of all, at most instances, the machine is slow. The network is not. There's not even network. And the whole day, out of 500 people, only 47 people were captured. And just imagine the distance of passing people, 500 from one community to another, to come and waste their time and not being captured. And they have to go back again. And the next day they have to come back. It's a lot of cost. It's a lot of resources. It's a lot of time wasted. At least, even electoral commission should have thought of putting more machines. Let's say, okay, in those areas, there are only two machines. Increase the number of machines there so that it could be maybe 6, 7, 8, 9, so that it will fast track the activities of the registration of the members. But you just come with two machines. There's no network. The distance is far, and you expect people to come.
And Dr. Ayariga, sorry for cutting through.
The issue of
Dr. Ayariga, sorry for cutting through. But which center specifically are you referring to?
Medina, Ketu South. Also, these are centers that I even got more. Many of the centers in Pusuga, the same. In all the centers, in almost all the centers, 500 people will come. They'll give them tax of 150 to 200, and these people will go and come. I took my daughters there. My two daughters are 18 and 19, and I took them there. We couldn't register. We had to leave because they were only able to capture 48. And the whole day, the people will sit down from morning till evening. I mean, what kind of processes are you doing? And with regards to what the lawyer is saying, I agree with the lawyer. But there are so many ways of dealing with this issue. If they are not willing to accept the injunction, they should paste it at their wall. It's also by law accepted that if you refuse injunction, we paste it on your wall, and that you are being served. And in any case, if we get the court to hear this, what it means is that they will have to increase the number of these and prolong it, maybe another 1 month, and send it and decentralize it to the police centers where people will be able to register.
But the point is, you have another opportunity. You have another opportunity next year. Quite a long, lengthy process and a plan by the EC to capture more and more people before the 2024
next
elections.
Year, a lot of people are also going to turn 18. We're not going to be. The numbers are not going to be the same. The numbers are going to increase. So it is not an issue of having another opportunity next year. It's an issue of doing the right thing. We've done this over the years. This is the first time Jean Mensah is asking for this kind of activity. All along, it has always been at the electoral area. Jean Mensah has decided to change her way. And I don't know whether she wants to save money or she just wants to disenfranchise a lot of people or she just wants to abuse her powers. I don't know. But I don't think it's right. Institutions cannot be stronger and more powerful than our laws. There is no institution in this country that is above the laws of this country.
Right. I get the point the two of you are making, lawyer Kpakpo Samuado and Dr. Hassan Ayariga. But just hold on for me, because there's a new trend we're seeing and witnessing out of the first 2 days of this exercise. Prospective voters now remaining at the mercy of many political parties who are now allegedly taking advantage and due advantage of the exercise, facilitating transport for those prospective registrants, raising fears of a potential undue influence on these naive teenagers who are first-time voters. Just listen to John Dumelo, who's the NDC's parliamentary aspirant for Ayasu West Wugon and the MP for the area, Seram Al-Hassan, all point to why they're barring, registrants for the very first time.
Where exactly are you coming from?
From Abelimpi.
Where?
Abelimpi.
Abelimpi. Okay, and you are here to register for the first time to take your card?
Yes, please.
Okay. How did you get here?
I came here. My assemblyman brought me here. By John Melu.
Okay. The NDC parliamentary candidate.
Yeah.
He
organized it. He told the people that if not done their Ghana card, he should come. And he actually made his campaign manager she brought us all together and she brought us in.
It's about calling them personally. It's about visiting their homes personally. It's about convincing them to come here, personally. It's about conveying them myself in my car, personally here. I mean, since 4 a.m. I've been here, making sure that, the queues are formed in a nice way, giving them water, giving them refreshments, making sure they are comfortable,
So you are busing them here?
Yes, personally. We are busing them from the communities, like from Okonglo, from Impasse, from Baleshi, from Tesano, from Ridge, from Airport, Jolu. We are busing them personally. Yes.
I am hopeful that they will come. Those who can't make it, we've made available vehicle to bring them. So we are ready for the process.
Well, so it is confirmed that the political parties are indeed bossing these first-time voters. Ni Kpakpo Samuado, your fear is that Precious, for instance, may be unduly influenced by the political parties, right? If she's bossed to the center.
You see, the case my client is bringing goes beyond the process of being backed or not being backed. Do you understand? That could be one of the negative attributes of this whole unfortunate artificial creation of a problem when there shouldn't be a problem. But what we seek to point out is that if Madame Jean Mensa and the EC are not brought to the realization that they are a public institution, they are subject to the rule of law, they must abide by the rules. If a citizen challenges them on something, they must appear in court, they must answer for it. If the court says what they are doing is right, we all accept it. Every public institution is subject to the rule of law. And so when you are served with court processes, you do not have the option to ignore them and to proceed on actions of your own. When you yourself, when Dr. Dufour filed a writ against the NDC presidential primary and served you, you said, oh, because you have been served with the court process, you want to stay your hand. You are a law-abiding institution. What has changed? What has changed? It is this inconsistent behavior by Madame Jean Mensa and the commissioners that give room for suspicion, that give room for people to believe that she has an agenda other than running elections in this country fairly and smoothly. We can't have that. We cannot have a situation where a public institution headed by a public servant, paid by our taxes, decides when and how she would answer to court processes and when and how she would deal with lawful processes. We can't have that.
Okay.
If you and I are subject to the rule of law, she, Madame Jean Mensa, is also subject to the rule of law. Maybe because she has these police protections and all that, sometimes she forgets that she's a public servant. She is a public servant. She cannot tell court bailiffs not to enter into a public institution to serve documents. That place is not her personal property. It is not her personal house.
Okay. Grateful. Nikbakwa Sama Ado, who's lead counsel for plaintiff Precious Eita. Dr. Hassan Ayariga, you just said the political parties there involved in bossing people. Are you helping first-time voters as the APC?
I think it is not that we're helping, we're supporting. We're all supporting. You know, most of these young people who are 18 and above are unemployed. And a lot of them are still in school. Others are just not having any job. So we try to help them and to bring them to the destinations where they can vote and where they can register. But the point is that it's becoming very expensive for everybody. So what we think that is denial from the EC or by the EC to not to allow them to be able to register as registered voters. And I don't think it's right. I don't think it's right. That is why we went to court. We are trying to make sure that Ghanaians get the opportunity to vote at the electoral areas. We are not saying give them money. We are not asking to support them. We are saying decentralize it to the places where people can afford to get there and then register easily. And also, it's going to be a very simple exercise for them in the future when they begin to run the national conduct the national election, because you are going to face a lot of difficulties now, and those difficulties you'll be able to resolve those difficulties in your next election. But right now, if you are not able to do that in the next election and we face difficulties, that is where you see people snatching ballot box and fighting the EC, and there will be war between political parties and one another. We don't want that in Ghana. The EC has enough money to decentralize the systems to the electoral areas. If they are asking us to have offices in every constituency as political parties, and we have done that, why can't they do that at the electoral areas?
And very finally,
we have put offices in every constituency, mandated by the EC, their constitution and their their regulations.
But you have the opportunity. You also have the opportunity, Doc, of reaching out to the Electoral Commission through the Inter-Party Advisory Committee. Are you making use of that?
That was what we done. That was what we did. We did that at the electoral IPAC meeting, and we agreed that the EC was going to come back when we raised the issue of sending the machines to the electoral areas, the EC said they were going to get back to us. Then we didn't hear from them. The next was that they were preparing to conduct the exercise starting from the 12th and then on the 4th of October. So they never came back to us. They just started their process. They did not even listen again. So that is why we are saying the EC cannot function without political parties. And the political parties equally cannot function without the EC. And that is why we have an IPAC platform. The IPAC platform is for political parties and the Electoral Commission to meet and discuss issues of electoral process and reforms.
And that's why I'm grateful that you're joining the conversation tonight. Thank you, Dr. Hassana Yariga, presidential candidate of the All People's Congress going into the 2024 elections, and also to Nick Pakpo Samuado, a lead counsel for the 18-year-old plaintiff Precious Eyita. That's it for Top Story. I am Blessed Sogah. Next is Newsnight.
Adwoa, the online page for the new business account was in shambles yesterday. We lost the page.
Tell me about it.
We started off very confident, and then the office broadband went down. When we set up the hotspot from the phone to reconnect, the data allocation also got finished.
You are joking.
I wish. The meeting room was hot. Kobe quickly tried calling them to give us some more time, but he had no airtime. Total chaos. They also gave us feedback that our website didn't have enough information. How can you run a business this way and hope to grow?
Oh dear.
Your business communication can be way better than this. Vodafone One Business is a complete communications package that gives you broadband with data transfer to mobile phones, mobile package with free calls among employees, landline with free calls and website design plus domain name registration. At Vodafone Business, we understand that strong connections within your business lead to success. Call 050-777-9000 or sign up by sending an email to sme@vodafone.com. Vodafone, further together.
Yes, so cool! Betway's cash out just got way better. Our enhanced early, partial, and auto cash out feature lets you cash out your bet out early, cash out a portion of your ongoing bets, or even set your bets to cash out automatically. All this to give you way more control over every thrilling bet you place. Sign up today at betway.com.gh. Terms and conditions apply. Regulated by the Gaming Commission of Ghana. No under 18. Betway. Get way more.
Live on Joy 99.7 FM here in Accra, in Kumasi on Love 99.5 FM, affiliates across Ghana's 16 regions. This is Newsnight.
I wish to state that I'm sincerely sorry. I apologize for my actions and inactions. None of my actions were intentional, deliberate, or calculated to bring disrepute to our great party.
Tonight, the Dom Kwabenya MP Sarah Adwoa Safo serves a public apology on the president, rank and file of the NPP, her constituents, among others, explaining her actions were not intentional but regrettable.
I was going through a lot as a mother and as a woman. I want to take this opportunity to ask for your forgiveness for anything untoward that I have done.
But some of her constituents and executives are not moved by her apology, insisting she has overstayed her welcome.
Okay, very good. We accept your apology. But I think enough is enough. We have the men and the women. I mean, there's nothing that is happening as far as Adwoa Safo is concerned in this constituency. She's doing nothing. She came back and she hasn't done anything.
Also, reactions from Dom Kwabenya constituents has been mixed. We are live in the area.
The vote that I want to cast, be inside the line, casting my vote, and this is the profit I'm getting.
Whatever, you forgive the person, all right, but maybe to give the person an opportunity again to do that thing again, it will not happen.
Also tonight, Finance Minister Ken Oforiatta describes as needless attacks on the governor of the Bank of Ghana over the 60 billion cedi loss. We have details as he also justifies the construction of the bank's new headquarters costing over $200 million. And this evening, intense reactions from users of the Accra-Tema motorway as motorists welcome demolition of toll booths on the stretch by the Ghana Highway Authority.
It is very, very good. In fact, me myself have witnessed 3 accidents on this particular place. especially and that one. And I always have been complaining.
And are you ready for the EcoBank Joy News Habitat Fair? Stay with me. I'll give you details of that here on Newsnight, also in business.
Economist Dr. Patrick Esume expresses uncertainty about prospects of the reopening of the domestic debt exchange program.
And in sports, we hear from last season's Ghana Premier League top scorer Abednego Tete, who says he's disappointed in the Ghana Football Association after receiving 5,000 cedis voucher to visit a dentist as his reward at the just ended GFA Awards.
And I'll take you to Somalia, where the African Union peacekeeping mission cites funding challenges as one of the major reasons it's decided to withdraw its troops by December 2024. We have stories of hope when his dream of becoming a world-class footballer did not materialize. Michael Edumazi turned to barbering and endured disappointment, but learned through it to be a better person.
I went to Sahara where I was told selection of players is done. I was asked to pay 500 cedis registration fee, but I didn't have the money, so I had to find another means to survive. 500. Meant to me, I'm to
That's and more in tonight's edition of Newsnight. Please do all to join us with your thoughts and comments via WhatsApp 055-1111-997. We're live on X Spaces. We're on Facebook, myjoyonline.com. You can send your comments with the hashtag Newsnight. I am Emefa Apawu, and this is your home of independent, fearless, and credible journalism. Tonight, we start off from this public apology.
I wish to state that I'm sincerely sorry. I apologize for my actions and inactions. None of my actions were intentional, deliberate, or calculated to bring disrepute to our great party.
That's the apology of Dom Kwabinya MP Sarah Adwoa Safo, and that apology directly to President Akufo-Addo, the rank and file of her party, for her actions and inactions that have hurt the NPP as a whole. So according to the former Deputy Majority Leader and Gender Minister, her reactions were not deliberate and are regrettable. Adwoa Safo took a leave of absence in 2021, citing personal reasons, and even had it extended indefinitely beyond August 31, 2021. As a result of her extended absence and perceived ineffectiveness as both a lawmaker and government appointee, she was relieved of her role as Minister of Gender, Children and Social Protection. Well, despite attempts by Parliament's Privileges Committee to obtain reasons for her prolonged absence from Parliament, we will recall that that was not provided. But in a televised message today, the Dom Kwabinya MP said none of her actions were deliberate.
I wish to proffer my sincere apology to His Excellency the President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, the Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, the Chief of Staff Honorable Frema Osei Opari, the Majority Leader and the entire leadership of Parliament, my colleague members of Parliament, the entire Majority Caucus, the leadership of our great party, the National Chairman and the General Secretary, together with all your executives, the regional executives of Greater Accra, the constituency executives of Dome Kwabinya, led by Chairman Bonsu, all polling station executives. I wish to state that I'm sincerely sorry. I apologize for my actions and inactions. None of my actions were intentional, deliberate, or calculated to bring disrepute to our great party. I was going through a lot as a mother and as a woman. I want to take this opportunity to ask for your forgiveness for anything untoward that I have done to bring the name of the party into disrepute. As the saying goes, to err is human and to forgive is divine. I ask for your forgiveness. My name is Adwoa Safo, the Member of Parliament for the good people of Dome Kwabinya. Thank you and God bless you all.
Needs no introduction. Well, my colleague Samuel Mbura has been to the Dom Kwabinya MP. He's just returned and he joins me in studio. So once we got this apology, you moved into the Dom Kwabinya constituency. Let's talk about reactions.
Yes, first of all, from the constituency executives, moving from the electoral to the electoral coordinators to the constituency executives, they were actually shocked by the apology from their MP. Some said they do not know why the MP is apologizing to them. Maybe the MP has done something that they are not aware. So until she comes to explain to them, they don't have any problem with her, and they are waiting for her to come and explain. But the secretary, constituency secretary for that Dom Kobia, One Ansalabi, he said that we accept your apology, but we cannot put you forward to lead the party in the upcoming elections.
But we say, okay, very good. We accept your apology, but I think enough is enough.
What do you mean? If you say enough is enough?
We have the men and the women. Dominic Obeje's name cannot be mentioned in the news for the wrong reasons all the time because of just one person. And if you go to the marketplaces, the trotro station, wherever you go, people say, if you don't know and you bring Honorable Adwoa Safo back, we'll vote against
What is their reason? Have they given you any exact reason for this?
Oh, are you a stranger in Jerusalem? You don't know what happened.
Remind us.
Dominic Obenya has been in the news for all the bad reasons. It got to the extent that they wanted to declare this seat vacant as a result of her doing. Apology well taken. MPP, we have the men and women. She's one of them. The delegates will decide. No one is going to stop her from coming back. She has come, she has declared her intention to contest. If she contests and the delegates think that what she did was right, so be it.
As executives, are you ready to receive her? She has apologized.
What are you talking about in terms of reception? She has come, she has met the executives, she has stated a point, and we have listened to her. I said, go on, you can do whatever you want to do as an MP, you can go on a vacation or go. I mean, there's nothing that is happening as far as Adwoa Safo is concerned in this constituency. She's doing nothing. She came back and she hasn't done anything.
Well, so that's the constituency secretary for Dom Kwabinya, Theophilus Ansa Labi. They're interacting with you, Samuel Limbura. How about the constituents themselves?
It was a mixed reaction. Some felt that, look, she's human just like them. So if she feels that she has done something against them and comes to apologize, why not? They will forgive her. Others are also saying that no, she has taken them for granted. So for that reason, they will punish her.
Safo administration is very poor. When it's voting time, you see her around, going up and down with a macho man. That's what they are. All of them are up to. They are there for their own interest. What are they doing to help the constituency? So that you see that the vote that I want to cast, be inside the line, casting my vote, and this is the profit I'm getting.
So you are not ready to receive her back after the apology?
No. The MPC, there are many. We want them to come downstairs. 270, what are they doing? If that day I have a 100, I can divide myself into 100 pieces. I'll do it and vote against her.
Human being offend human being. So if she has done something, she has realized that what she has done is wrong. Who are we to say no? We forgive her.
Are you suspecting that perhaps she wants to come back and contest the seat?
That's what we would decide from there. No, she can't decide for her. We will decide that. You understand? So that one, therefore, apology is accepted. But whatever, you forgive the person, all right. But maybe to give the person an opportunity again to do that thing again. It will not happen.
You are not ready to receive her back in the constituency?
She's still the MP, so she's in the
I'm talking about if she comes to contest. You are not ready to.
That's where the people will decide.
But although one thing I have to say is if you come, they make every effort to thank everybody. You didn't have anything to say it again. Just allow him to do whatever he did. That's all.
Well, Wimbura, you've been also finding out from the MP's team as to what exactly triggered this public apology at this time. What did they say?
Well, they are not categorical, but the indication I'm getting is that Madam Adwoa Safo is coming back.
Okay. Well, let me head to the party headquarters and get a brief reaction from the Deputy General Secretary of the NPP, Haruna Mohammed. Thank you so much for your time here on Newsnight. So this public apology we're hearing from Sarah Adwoa Safo today has been officially communicated to the party, because we know that the party was also mentioned in the apology.
Thank you very much, Emefa. We're also hearing this in the media cycles, and we felt that for Honorable Adwoa Safo to openly apologize to his constituents on matters that she felt that she needs to apologize as a human being, I think that is in the right direction. Once we live in democracy and we are also human beings, we are very fallible, and I will not be able to tell which specific issue that she's apologizing for. However, whatever the issue is, she has apologized. And once she's a member of parliament and the constituents have heard her apology, and it's left with them to decide democratically who leads them, if indeed what they are saying is for her to come back to contest. As for contesting, she will definitely contest. But however, the delegates will so decide who leads them. For MPP and a political party, every political party in the world needs people to be able to win political power. And I don't think that in the first place we have major issue with Adwoa Safo. We are not fighting with her. Perhaps there might be disagreement in a manner that issues have been handled, but Adwoa Safo remains a member of parliament on the side of the New Patriotic Party in the People's Representative Assembly in Ghana.
Well, the people we interacted with in the constituency, some of them are at a loss as to what exactly she's apologizing for. And I hear you also talk about it earlier, that what exactly she's apologizing for, you do not know, but you've accepted it. Adwoa Safo has not wronged the party in any way, you say?
The party has its guidelines, and when a party member flouts those guidelines, I think that we have a due communication process for which this has to be done. I can remember when some of these particular disciplinary procedures have been Honorable Adwoa Safo. However, it is that we have heard in the media of issues that is happening in Parliament. I think that as a human being, maybe she has decided that certain happenings that she has to apologize. It's one of the signs of maturity, and we must commend her for that particular process. Like I said, all of us are fallible, and in conflict resolution situations, you don't ask what the person has done. Once the person has admitted the decision to apologize, I think that we must applaud her. But as to what intent of which she apologized, I think that it is the constituents that will decide if it comes to leadership within the constituency.
But as a party, a public apology is the way to go for you. That's acceptable.
I think for her to have a public apology first in the place, I think that it is good because she's speaking to the larger population, and not only to the New Patriotic Party, but also speaking to Ghanaians as a whole, people who are not even in her constituency. I think that she's showing a certain sign that she admits that certain things have happened that she thought or she thinks that it hasn't gone very well, and she's apologizing to the people of Ghana. Remember, she's in Parliament. Whatever she does in Parliament is not for only the people of Dominican. It affects every constituency in Ghana. And if her actions had affected the growth of this country, I think that she's apologizing for that. And I think that we need to give her that particular room.
Well, what do you say to some who would say that because it's Adwoa Safo, the party accepts the apology in whichever form it comes? Because knowing what happened, we are told Chief of Staff, amongst others, reached out and there was no response from Adwoa Safo's quarters. And now she comes with a public apology. It's accepted. Is it not such a bad example to others in your party?
I don't. The example here you mean. First, she went to meet her constituency people, and she told them her intention, and she's apologizing. If there is anything at all that borders on her writing, she will be able to do that to the party. After her return, I have seen her a couple of times at the party headquarters to meet. We have met her several times when decisions were to be taken. I think that the party is using that particular resolution aspect rather than the combating aspect, and I think this is one of the steps. She has just done that today. We don't know the number of days that is coming, what exactly she's going to do, and I think that if we give her a little time, maybe she will take better decisions as we move along time.
Well, we leave it there for now. We are grateful for your time. Mr. Haruna Mohammed, there is a Deputy General Secretary of the NPP reacting to the public apology by Sarah Adwoa Safo, the Dom Kwabinya MP. And we've been hearing from her constituents, plus the constituency executives, also the secretary in particular, raising concerns about this particular apology. My colleague Samuel Imbura interacting with some constituents as well. But we'll stay in the camp a while longer of the NPP, and the former Agric Minister and NPP flag bearer hopeful, Dr. Efri Yakoto, is rallying party members in preparation for the 2024 election. The party's elections committee, we know, has completed the ballot allocation for all four candidates, placing the former Agric Minister in the third position on the ballot. Adeni Mo there, we have Kennedy Ejapong first, and then Dr. Mahmoud Baumia. We've been hearing all the twists and turns and also the interpretations that has been given to the positions that the various camps have received. Well, he explains that the November 4 election should not divide the party, but rather serve as an opportunity to unite behind a single candidate to break the 8. He's been addressing the media.
I have been humbled by the decision of the super delegates to select me as one of the 5 candidates to contest for the flag bearership race on the 4th of November 2023. The 4th November election is not a make or break issue for the party. It is to elect one of us to bear the flag of our noble party going forward to the presidential elections scheduled for the 7th of December 2024. It offers an opportunity for all of us to unite behind one person, to lead us to break the 8 and not to break the party.
Well, he insists he's the best man for the job.
November 2023. We must break the 8 to retain the NPP in power. I call on members of my campaign teams in all electoral areas and constituencies to work tirelessly to ensure that all delegates vote massively for me, number 3 on the ballot paper, to lead the charge for an emphatic NPP victory in the December 2024 presidential elections. I know the battle ahead is not going to be easy, but with determination and blessings from the Almighty, victory will be ours. Thank you.
That's the former Agric Minister addressing the media earlier today. We also know, staying on issues relating to the November 4 elections, we know now that the key communicators for Alan Kojo-Kyerematen, who has since withdrawn from the race, Catherine Yafeku and then Sylvester Tete, they've all decided to rally round Dr. Baumia in terms of the lead-up, in terms of campaigning towards the November polls. So that's how it looks like. But let's turn our attention now to some other stories. Your reactions are welcome. It's via WhatsApp 055-1111-997. This is Newsnight live on Joy 99.7 FM here in Accra, in Kumasi on Love 99.5 FM. We're on myjoyonline.com and all social media platforms. Now, the Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta has described as needless attacks on the governor of the Bank of Ghana over the 60 billion cedi loss. According to the Finance Minister, the primary objective of the Bank of Ghana, like all central banks, is not to generate profit. In an article titled "Standing Strong with the Bank of Ghana," he addressed the importance of managing the central bank as a financially sustainable institution rather than focusing solely on profitability. The article comes in response to plans by the Minority Caucus of Parliament to protest against Dr. Ernest Addison, accusing him of mismanaging the central bank. They want the deputy governors to also go, resulting in the loss of 60.8 billion in 2022 alone and negative equity of 55.1 billion. I've been interacting with my colleague Raymond Akwa of our research desk. I first asked him about the BOG loss and the justification provided by the Finance Minister.
So the Finance Minister discusses the impact of global events such as the COVID-19 pandemic and geopolitical factors on central banks worldwide, including the Bank of Ghana, and running on negative equity. He also suggests that these events clearly contributed to the losses of the central bank.
Okay, so then he also goes on to talk about this new office and the controversy. That's the Bank of Ghana's new office building. What exactly does he say?
So the statement mentions that decision to build the Bank of Ghana's new headquarters had been made long before the recent financial losses occurred. In fact, it emphasizes the importance of supporting the construction of the new office building to modernize the central bank's operations. In fact, the new office building is seen as essential for a country aspiring to become financial services hub and hosting the Africa Continental Free Trade Area.
Okay, now let's talk about the reforms suggested for the Bank of Ghana by the Finance Minister.
A couple of them. The Minister suggests that there is a need for reforms to strengthen the governance of financial institutions, including the Bank of Ghana. He proposes a positive and sober national debate on various aspects, including revisiting the governance structure, separation of chairmanship and governorship roles, and the implications of central bank independence. While specific reforms are not specifically outlined in here, the statement underscores the importance of these issues as important national conversations that should be had on the way forward for how governance at the central bank is supposed to be done.
Are there any other issues, concerns that he raises in the statement?
So there are a couple of them. The minister is quite clear in his mind that there's a lot of things that this government has done that ought to be taken care of too. He says the BOG's assets have grown substantially from 53 billion in 2016 to 226 billion by the end of 2022, marking a 138% increase. Indeed, he also says total government government revenues had more than doubled between 2016, rising from 32 billion in 2016 to 96.7 billion by the end of December 2022. Indeed, he also moves on to say that the economy has also more than doubled, with a lot of big things happening. GDP increasing from 218.6 billion in 2016 to an estimated 577.3 billion by the end of 2022. And of course, the minister also talked about how these economic changes are impacting social sectors such as education and health. He says significant progress has been made in various social sectors, with education spending constituting about 20% of tax revenue and the health sector constituting between 8 to 10% of tax revenue. And many of the other issues he raised also to do with the collaborations between the BOG and also the Ministry of Finance to address challenges in the economy. Indeed, he says since 2017, there has been a strong collaboration between the Ministry of Finance and the Bank of Ghana to reset the financial architecture and strengthen the economy. And of course, he believes that the BOG manages its balance sheet by issuing currency, conducting foreign exchange operations, investing in funds, providing emergency liquidity, and facilitating fiscal operations, including periodic shortfalls. There's also one thing to do whether changes in monetary policy targets affected central banks globally. And he also say yes, and beyond that, this central bank has done a very wonderful work until it recently had difficulties.
Okay, does he make any mention of our IMF program? And then there's the second tranche of the money is $600 million coming in.
Generally, there's a conversation about the expectations of this government getting out of the current difficulties it's having, and that continue with the IMF program, continue with negotiations with the potential creditors who also have outstanding matters to do with government, and making sure that within the period that they have as government, a lot of the remedies can be done quickly and proceeding on the path of making sure Ghana gets back to the winding ways it had previously.
Well, so that's my colleague there, Raymond Akwa, and he's currently interacting with former Finance Minister Seth Terkper right now on Upfront on the Joy News channel. We can hear brief reactions from the former Finance Minister Seth Terkper on this latest development and this article put out by the Finance Minister.
Of Finance, who is in charge of the macroeconomy, to also talk about, monetary issues, which is part of the issue. And let me say that, at the point when the city was depreciating fast in 2013, yes, if you remember, I conducted a media brief to outline, fiscal and other measures that were being taken, including we were going to program cocoa flows into the economy, which came across as defending, the central bank. So one is not faulting the Minister for Finance for that, but we're talking about, looking at the situation in which the country is today. Raymond, let me make a couple of points. You spoke about the MEF. It does the Memorandum of Economic and Financial Performance.
Yes,
the Memorandum and Economic, yes, the MEFP, right, and the letter of intent, which is signed by the governor and the Minister for Finance, go together. So that is a government input into the IMF program. So the minister, it's not an IMF, input. IMF actually, it tells you, those two documents tell you the perspective of government, as part of the negotiations. And so if there are concessions and things that are being made, and the truth is coming out of it today, we should see a government that is now telling us some of the key issues that were confronting, the economy. The other point is, I remember, again, that I come to the point. Remember that for us to achieve domestic debt exchange success, the Bank of Ghana had to, virtually write off, the debts that government owed to it. Some of those debts are not new. Yes, of course. But that itself is going to have a long-lasting effect on the central bank, because it means that the borrowing that the Bank of Ghana did, even if it's within the 5%, on which government has to pay interest, right? Because those were funds for the are not going to be there. And that means that it means the recovery of the central bank itself, much bigger. And as Prof mentioned, remember we were winning ourselves of the the IMF, only for us to succumb and to come to one of these. And so what is this boldness that we're talking about? Prof already mentioned, our tendency to compare ourselves, to other central banks. Remember, just before we could not pay our debt. That is the truth we must face. We are not able to pay our debt. And that's why we have to get here. And just before we got, to that point, we were making the same comparisons and saying, after all, the debt of Japan, the debt of UK, US is above 100%. So what's wrong with it? You can compare now where we are with the stability of those countries, some of whose debt are still above 100%, and are able to continue to go to the bond market and others and issue. That's the difference. The difference is that we have come to rely. The difference is that we have come to rely almost exclusively now on only T-bills, and loans from the multilateral and others to finance our budget. That is the crucial difference. So we must cut our coat according to, as a monkeys play by sizes, and we should. Because when it comes to Africa, we should be looking to things which Botswana and others are doing, which is some of which are in the very, buffers that were built, which are depleted today, as I said.
I get you back.
And that's former Finance Minister Seth Tekwe there speaking now on Upfront with Raymond Nakwa on the Joy News channel, which is also available on all our social media platforms. This is News Night here on Joy 99.7 FM. It's time for business, and Beverly Broom is here.
Thanks so much, Emefa, for having me. Welcome to the Business News on Newsnight, brought to you by MTN, Kingdom Books and Stationery, Syntex Tank, and Pepsodent Charcoal and Herbal. Coming up tonight, economist Dr. Patrick Esumi expresses uncertainty about prospects of the reopening of the domestic debt exchange program. Also, Finance Minister jumps to the defense of Bank of Ghana, saying the central bank remains prudent, strong, and functioning effectively. We have details after this.
Imagine strutting into the most anticipated wedding of the year, only to see 7 other girls wearing your exact same outfit.
You are special and one of a kind, and that's why whether it's voice, data, or SMS, you get to enjoy personalized offers tailored to your specific needs with MTN Just For You. Dial *141# or select your options on the My MTN app to redeem your unique Just For You package on Ghana's best mobile network. MTN.
Hooray! The Kingdom Books and Stationery Limited's Back to School promotion is here with us once again. From the 4th of September to the 31st of October 2023, Kingdom Books and Stationery Limited is giving a generous 10% to 15% discount on all school items like textbooks, pens, pencils, erasers, exercise books, and so much more across all our branches in Accra, Tema, Kumasi, Takoradi, Winneba, and Cape Coast. Parents, teachers, and students, please hurry while stock lasts. For more information, call us on 0302 764 101 or 0302 764 209 or email info@kingdomgh.com. You can also visit our website www.kingdomgh.com. Kingdom Books, where quality and affordability are both assured. Terms and conditions apply.
No matter your water needs, Syntex has it all. Syntex Tank was first to introduce double layer tank, and now you can have as many layers as you want. Syntex Tank was first to introduce white inner layer tanks in Ghana, and now introduces the customer specs order, which will let you order any color and size you want. Syntex Tanks gives you the biggest warranty of 7 years, which no other tank gives you. So whatever your water consumption, size of project, or demand, choose Syntex Tank. Syntex Tank, stress-free. Syntex Tank, reliable. Syntex Tank, maximum guarantee. Call 0244 335 168, Kumasi 0505 555 666, or visit syntexgh.com. Syntex Tank, strong, tough.
I'm afraid. Yeah.
dia sambisanda mo. Eti emratia no. Mumu hwan pa na tumi hwe na mo bodompe mo ma na yakono. Eye kwabna. Na mumu hwan so na tumi just mali me ma ye nyina de. Eye kojo. Enu kro. Kobra tumi hwe na bodompe mo sense o yusu accident eba. Aye den aban ne do braye. Bo si eti na mo ban na sem ma na hoode ne. Sa ani na kudwo so yusu accident chako. Na eno ne de e ma wo se wo ye krejen fita. Na watimi asiri bedwo ma na feel you. Ey kojo sa. Yeah. Pepsodent Eba and a Pepsodent Charcoal. Afedie. Ya kono natural.
FDIJ Trading Katuyatu.
Let's settle for the details now. Economist Dr. Patrick Esuming has expressed uncertainty about the prospects of the reopening of the domestic debt exchange program, arguing an expenditure cut could have prevented the second round of the debt restructuring. According to him, this action by government contradicts the Ministry of Finance's own assurance that there would not be a second round of the DDP.
I think I won't describe this as a very good move. I think, you see, there are different things we can do to bring down the debt. We've done domestic debt exchange. We have to grow the economy. And then we have to cut the size of the deficit. So if we had cut the deficit substantially for this current year and going forward, maybe it wouldn't have been so necessary to come back to do domestic debt exchange.
Economist Dr. Patrick Esuming there. Now, a senior lecturer of banking and finance at the UPSA, Dr. Gladys Abendao Nabil, has cautioned that the financial position of ADB cannot support the bank to take over the National Investment Bank. According to her, it will be a setback to merge two struggling banks in the current economic conditions where banks are trying to recover from the domestic debt exchange program. Government is said to have completed all moves for the takeover, but Dr. Nabil advised government to rather seek alternative funding for both banks to revive their operations.
Instead of a merger at this time, if you don't merge two struggling banks, at different levels together and you expect to succeed, because as I mentioned, the current finances of ADB is not too good enough, and it is an issue that a lot of banks are also facing: liquidity crisis, the current economic issues. Even with you can link it to the current debt crisis that Ghana had to recently,
Senior lecturer of banking and finance at UPSA, Dr. Gladys Abendao Nabil there. Now, prices of diesel and liquefied petroleum gas are expected to go up by 1% and 4% respectively from Saturday, 16th September. That's a projection by the Institute for Energy Security. However, the price of petrol is likely to remain unchanged during the second pricing window. The impending increases are coming on the back of an increase in international market prices of diesel and LPG, coupled with a 0.97% depreciation of the cedi to the dollar during the period. Here is the executive director of the IES, Nana Amwesi VII.
In the estimation of the Institute for Energy Security, the price of key petroleum products may see price increases on the domestic fuel market by roughly 4%. This is to reflect changes on the international fuel market as well as the local forex market. Over the last 2 weeks, IES monitoring of the international fuel market through the Standard & Poor's platform shows that gas oil price moved from $913 per metric ton to $943 per metric ton. That is 3% price change. And so consumers would definitely have to bear the cost of the additional increases as induced by both international prices and the forex market. The forex market also saw a depreciation of the cedi by roughly 1%.
Now, head of the Civil Service of Ghana, Dr. Evans Agui-Dako, has reiterated the need for lapses within Ghana's digitalization agenda to be addressed to support data-driven decisions within the public sector. According to him, Ghana needs a holistic approach in its digitalization drive to ensure effective and efficient public service space. He was speaking at the graduation ceremony for the first Dig Smart training program held for directors, managers and officers of various ministries.
So in point of fact, leaders, sometimes they don't always have to be technologically savvy, you understand, but appreciate. But they must be intellectually curious about technology and understand technology well enough to connect its effective use to its policy direction. So the connection is there. So an appreciation of the value, the utility of technology for me is critical for the leaders that we have. Because if I said, as I said yesterday, if our leader who himself or herself is congenital ignoramus, he doesn't see it.
And finally, before I go, Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta has jumped to the defense of the Bank of Ghana, saying the central bank in the past has remained prudent, strong, resilient and functioning effectively. According to him, this has been barely noticed until the interruption of unprecedented global events. There's more in this report.
In an article titled, Standing Strong with the Bank of Ghana, Mr. Ofori-Atta said, our central bank's assets have grown almost in tandem with the size of our financial sector and economy. From 53 billion cedis in 2016, the bank's assets have grown by nearly 1.5 to 126 billion cedis as of the end of 2022. He added, the foundation has never been conspicuous as revenue has more than doubled since 2016. Again, the size of the economy has also more than doubled from an economic size or value of 219.6 billion cedis in 2016 to an estimated 610.2 billion by the end of 2022. Furthermore, the finance minister said all can attest to the progress made in digitalization, infrastructure, among others. Mr. Ofori-Atta continued that the vision for and progress in social mobility and economic freedom is often in budget conflict with short-term macroeconomic volatility, and therefore Bank of Ghana should not be blamed for the economic challenges.
You heard the business desk report, but Emefa, before I go, let me acknowledge my sponsors. First, News 9 is brought to you by MTN, Kingdom Books and Stationery, Syntex Tank, and Pepsodent Charcoal and Herbal.
I need to own a home this year.
Of course.
And I'm working towards it. We are all going to Tema tomorrow.
Right.
Starting tomorrow all the way to Sunday. I know you're bringing the boys. I'm bringing the children as well. And we are inviting everyone
yes,
to be at the Eco Bank Joy News Habitat Fair. And definitely let's
Tema.
own a home together this year. But let's hear from the head of sales and marketing here at Multimedia Group, Max Sogah.
All we seek to do with the Habitat Fair is to create a platform for all those who are within the housing value chain to showcase their products and services to property seekers and to anybody else who is interested in everything housing. This year, we decided to expand beyond the traditional areas. We've always been at Achimota Mall, we've always been at West Hills Mall, we've always been at the Janshi Mall, Teshinungwa. But this year, we realized that there's a lot of development taking place in and around Tema. And so we decided to move to Tema to give opportunity to property developers, to property seekers, to those who are interested in the auxiliary services, roofing, shades, furniture, everybody. People who are within that catchment area to have the opportunity to shop for their needs at one place. So we are looking at the Tema Township itself. We are looking at Boom, Pram Pram, Dowenya, all the way to Chopoli. And then the Afienya side, the Michelle Camp side, part of Nungwa, part of Tertiary, part of Spinters Road. There's a lot of development taking place there, and we believe that those people need to be catered for.
Definitely, you all be catered for when you come to the EcoBank Joy News Habitat Fair in Tema, starting tomorrow all the way to Sunday. Let's take some of your messages that you've sent in as well this evening into News 910. I'll start off from this one with Baba Chairman in Tamale. Says the NDC minorities attacks on the governor of the Bank of Ghana and his deputies is nothing but populism and showmanship, nothing more, nothing less. Ken, he talks about. And then Jilly says that Jean Mensah stand to benefit when she continues to be this intransigent. Fellow Ghanaians, the posture of Ghana's Electoral Commission is quite strange. And Prince from Tema West says what's happening with the EC is not right. The courts won't give us a voice. We, the people, must assert ourselves. We are not angry enough. Speak up, act up. And Philip from North Legon, the 18-year-old Precious Aita, is a Ghanaian like any other citizen and has right to seek redress in the law court if she feels her right to register as a voter is being trampled upon. Ernest from Taifa says, as a former constituency deputy secretary of the Dom Kwabinya area, okay, he's asking that we contact him. Okay, Ernest, we'll do that. And Charles Legon says it is a crying shame a public officer disdains the people whose taxes pay her. She's pushing the country to the brink of chaos. And Kwesi Nkaswa says, why would Madame Jean Mensah not respect the rule of law? What sort of behavior is that? She shouldn't forget that she would one day leave the scene. Nana Akuamwa Boating in Ablekuma Central says Sarah Adwoa Safo's public apology is quite curious. Why is she apologizing now, months to the internal parliamentary primaries? Anyway, she thinks the reality is now dawning on her and so she can take remedial action to save her from losing her seat, then she is late, you say. Kofi Protocol says, did I hear Ken Oforiatta say Ghanaians' anger over BOG's 60 billion loss is needless? Ghanaians and God are watching. We have one also here from Abuchi Philip in Keta. In fact, Adwoa Safo was too rude on party members in her constituency. She even disrespected Mrs. Gertrude Kwashiga in the gender ministry. So Adwoa Safo should give us a break in this country. Blaine Kumasi says the claim that the decision to build a new building was taken before the current economic hardship and should be disregarded is unreasonable. Times have changed, so we should also change our ways of doing things. I'm sure you're talking about the BOG situation and Ken Oforiatta's article. And we have one from Musa Abatwa in Aswase. No one should be surprised why Finance Minister jumped into defending the indefensible. He's part of the mess deliberately created by the BOG. I'll take a final one from Donald Yenap in Kumasi. This current Finance Minister should give us a break. No serious country in the world will allow himself and the BOG boss to be at post by now for the mess they have created. Thanks for your messages that you sent via WhatsApp on 055-1111-997. We go on to the Tema motorway now. That road will lead us to the EcoBank Joy News Habitat Fair. We've been stationed there most part of this month, and some motorists who use the Tema motorway have welcomed the demolition of the toll booth, describing the exercise as long overdue, expressing the approval of the demolition on the expressway. The drivers say the move by the Ghana Highway Authority will enhance the free flow of traffic at the booths and help prevent further crashes. There's more in the following report.
To curb the incessant crashes into the abandoned toll booth on the motorway, the Ghana Highways Authority authorized contractors to demolish part of the structure sitting on the original motorway. After successfully installing street lights near the booth, contractors on Thursday, September 14, 2023, cleared a number of the booths. Samuel Aidan is the site engineer for the demolition exercise.
Behind me is the demolition exercise, which is still ongoing. Now, when we are done, the next step is to install the concrete barriers, that is the concrete blocks we used to see. Well, we are going to install it temporary, and then later on we are going to install it permanently. The temporary one is just for us to have the easy comfort of working within our scope of work. So traffic from Afla will have to be told to the right, extreme right, and then towards the Accra. And then when we are done permanently by installing the concrete blocks, it will define cars from Afla to use the main Tema motorway.
Even though officials of the Ghana Highways Authority will not speak to the media on site, drivers who ply the route have welcomed the demolition exercise, insisting it will help curb road crashes.
This exercise is good. It gives us more clearance for us to drive through the canopy. So we appreciate it so much.
It is very, very good. In fact, me myself, I've witnessed 3 accidents on this particular place, especially in that one. And I always have been complaining that we Ghanaians, sometimes we are not serious. We want people to die before we attend to problems. We don't want to solve problems. But what they are doing now, I think is the best, because it has become white elephant. We don't know the use of it. So it needs to be demolished. So they are doing the good job. In fact, I love the way they are destroying it, so that it will pave a way to avoid accidents on this stretch.
The question on the lips of many motorists who ply the Accra-Tema motorway is when the Ghana Highways Authority would tackle the many potholes on the stretch.
Look at the motorway. Since Kwame Nkrumah constructed it, look at it. The state of the motorway. Now, some part is even death trap when it rains heavily. And if you are not careful and if you don't know the route, in fact, you get an accident. In fact, if I have a wish, or if I have my way in that ministry, I would enforce them to repair this motorway.
My name is Carlos Kaloni for Joy News.
And that's the situation on the Accra-Tema motorway. Let me take you to Somalia now. The AU peacekeeping mission there, known as the African Union Transition Mission in Somalia, is citing funding challenges as one of the major reasons it has decided to do a gradual withdrawal of troops from the East African country. The AU has agreed with the Somali government to pull out 3,000 troops by the end of this month, that's September. Maxwell Agbagba of our security desk has more from Somalia.
Formerly known as the African Union Mission in Somalia, AMISOM, but now the African Union Transition Mission in Somalia, ATMIS, has supported the country's government in the fight against Al-Shabaab for the past 15 years. The AU wants to gradually reduce the number of troops until December 2024, when the mission ends and full security duties handed over to the National Army of Somalia. Force Commander of ATMIS, Lieutenant General Sam Okidin, has revealed funding challenges as one of the major reasons for the decision to reduce the number of troops until the mission ends in 2024.
ATMIS is limping in terms of finances. And one of the reasons why this drawdown was drafted, it was because of the funding fatigue. Those who are funding said we can no longer shoulder this. We can't manage. As we speak now, there are voids in funding. And that's one of the major reasons ATMIS is exiting by 2024 come December.
He's recommending that individual countries and members of the African Union take up the cost of keeping the troops in Somalia.
Addis Ababa needs to sit down and revisit this issue of the funding. And the African countries need to sit down and revisit. I can give you an example. The African states can decide to send their their troops here on their costs. It is not difficult. It is possible.
He says the threats posed by terrorist group Al-Shabaab is not limited to Somalia and its neighbors, but West African countries, including Ghana and the world.
Now there is Al-Shabaab threats. How is West African countries? Will it affect the Western African countries? It was in Yemen. How far is Yemen from Uganda? For example, Mozambique. They were in Syria, now they are in Mozambique, they are in Sahel region, and they are here in Mogadishu. So there is nobody who is safe. So nobody is safe in this era of terrorism. West Africa, definitely the effects there, the threats are real, and the indicators are already showing. The connection in the Sahel region and Al-Shabaab, Al-Qaeda, is real.
Well, my colleague Maxwell Agbagba, like I've told you, is in Somalia. He joins us via Zoom now. Maxwell, thanks for joining us. Let's talk about the situation in Somalia and knowing the war situation amongst others. What's been your experience so far?
Well, Emefa, I've not been able to go out, go to town properly. We've been confined to the United Nations and African Union protected areas. And these are very, very, very fortified, compounds with a lot of bunkers around. And you'd have to go through different layers of security before you get access to the compound. So this is what we've been limited to. We are unable to go into the streets of, Somalia itself, to maybe to the market, maybe to hang out with people. In fact, when we arrived, I was given a bulletproof vest, and then I was also given a route helmet. In fact, today, before we stepped out, even within the protected areas of the United Nations and the African Union, we were told to wear our body armor because earlier in the day, they had picked some security, signals, and some people who were outside by then had to quickly hide in the bunkers, in the mini bunkers, around here. In fact, for the African Union and the United Nations personnel and the police people, independent police officers, all working around here, you cannot go out without the protection of a police officer. And even when you're going out, you have to go out in an armored vehicle. Since the time that we arrived here in Somalia, I've heard gunfire. For all the days that we've been here, I've had gunfire. So there are times that today, for instance, about 2 hours ago, we're outside with some personnel from Ghana, and we had some gunfire in the air. And, we all got scared at the point, but they told us that we should be okay. So far as we are in the AU and protected compounds, we were safe. But it is dangerous outside. Even we couldn't hold conversations outside to the point when, after 10 minutes of conversation, they were like, it is dangerous to stay outside for long, so we have to all go inside. So yes, it's 10 p.m. It's 7 minutes to 10 p.m. The streets are deserted. As early as 7 p.m., the streets are deserted. Even the streets in the protected area, the green zone, they call it, are deserted.
Well,
I don't know what is happening even in the red zone right now.
Okay. I'm sure these are stories that you get to share with us on Sunday edition. And we have the newsroom inside jokes that we'll talk about later. But really, more importantly, though, let's talk about the AU peacekeeping mission and that withdrawal because of the funding challenges. How would it be done?
Yeah. Well, a lot of people have expressed skepticism about the move to draw down or gradually reduce the number of troops here. But the African Union Transition Mission in Somalia believes it has capacitated the Somali National Force to fully take over security responsibilities. A Somali journalist I interacted with earlier today thinks the plan is ill-conceived, and we may have an Afghanistan-like situation where the U.S. exit from Afghanistan resulted in the Taliban regaining control of the country and creating a refugee crisis because many Afghans actually fled. Now, the small number of Somalis I've interacted with feel the Somali National Army may not be able to repel Al-Shabaab, the terrorist group Al-Shabaab, and protect recovered lost territories. They think a phased approach for the drawdown of troops, as the EU is doing now, will kind of undo all the gains. Now, with Al-Shabaab moving back, they feel that Al-Shabaab would actually now get opportunity to move back into the big cities and run the system like how, they are doing other areas where they even collect taxes and then, toll roads and amongst others.
Okay.
There are those who also think that it will be difficult for Somali forces to secure areas being vacated by the AU troops now.
Okay.
There are also growing fears that when the troops leave the terrorist group, Al-Shabaab will rain havoc on the civilians who relied on troops from the African Union for protection. So really, it's a lot of skepticism, a lot of fears, but the AU transition mission in Somalia thinks that they've capacitated the Somali National Force to run the security system in the country. Emefa.
Well, stay safe, Maxwell. We'll definitely have a banquet party for you when you return to Accra. Thank you. That's my colleague, Maxwell Agbagba, my colleague on the security desk reporting live from Somalia. Right here in the studio, Musbao is here.
Yeah, I will wait for my own banquet party to wait to see. Well, but it's Abednego Tete. He was the top scorer of last season's Ghana Premier League. And in the just ended Ghana Football Association Awards, he took home the top scorer award, and he was given 5,000 Ghana cedis voucher to visit a dentist. And he says he feels disrespected by the gesture by the Ghana Football Association. Let's hear from him.
referee car almost 2 billion. Best player, Momano, 220,000 Ghana city, which is 200 million. Now, the woman water 5,000. Minko dental was Mangasa we say man something respect. Now I made it that na me be a trouble but look at me say oh me G go can you see me country me say that maybe that two and plan do dia if you are next one normally Minko ear clinic Minko the numbers.
In the tree language by translation he's just saying that well the referee for the year got a car. And a few other individuals got some cash prizes, but for the top scorer award, he got 5,000 Ghana cedi voucher to visit the dentist. And he says the voucher is at home and his kids are just playing with it. And he does not know if next season, if he comes top as the top scorer, he might be given a voucher to get check his ear. So that's Abednego Tete. But the Vice President of the Ghana Football Association has been speaking about the injunction that has been filed on the Ghana Premier League, which is expected to start this weekend. And he says he's not worried because the locus of the plaintiff is one that is questionable, for which reason he believes it wouldn't materialize into anything.
Well, so that's sports brought to you by Pepsodent Herbal and Charcoal. With Pepsodent, every smile matters. And Ms. Bows dashing out to the Joy News on the Joy News channel, Joy News Prime on the Joy News channel. Just before we go, we have our stories of hope for today. And when his dream of becoming a world-class footballer did not materialize, Michael Idumaze's urge to see himself succeed regardless become his push and pull for him. After some ups and downs in changing jobs, Michael settled on barbering, a trade he practices with such passion and zeal. He also shares his struggles and successes with Hannah Odame in today's Story of Hope series. Well, I'll bring that to you shortly. My machine just froze on me. Of course, it happens once in a while there. But we'll be wrapping up here on Newsnight, live on Joy 99.7 FM here in Accra, also in Kumasi on Love 99.5 FM. We've been on X Spaces, Facebook, and myjoyonline.com. What a timing for the machines. But of course, we'll definitely bring you stories of hope in our subsequent edition. But it looks like I have it now. Let's go.
Michael has always nurtured a strong ambition of being a footballer. He had imagined himself on the international stage, playing in the big leagues. When he completed junior high school, he put all his eggs in one basket, football or nothing else. So he traveled to Accra to make this dream a reality.
I went to Sahara where I was told selection of players is done. I was asked to pay 500 cedis registration fee, but I didn't have the money, so I had to find another means to survive. 500.
Looking like a shattered dream, Michael refused to go back home. He quickly had to make another plan to survive.
So I found work by washing utensils for a kenke seller. After a while, I changed to helping produce and sell paints. I left that too to sell fried rice.
Michael got excited about migrating to South Africa. A client convinced him that he would earn more money whilst there.
One day, I met a Baba who encouraged me to learn the trade, and through that, I traveled to South Africa.
He touched down in Johannesburg and called the person who was supposed to host him.
From 4 a.m. when I landed in SA until 10 p.m., my host never picked his calls. They then became suspicious and deported me back to Ghana.
With no money left, no job to hold on to, and no one to look up to, it took him so many years to bounce back. Eventually, the ever-determined Michael got back on his feet and now owns a barbering shop.
I spent all my money on the South African trip, so when I came back, I really cried. I felt all was lost. I hustled a lot but could not get much money. After working for a while, I thought of getting my own shop. So in 2018, I rented this place, and today I tirelessly work towards making this work for me.
His friend admires his determination.
I know Michael to be very hardworking. The downs and everything, but he came back strongly.
Married with a child, his advice to the youth is simple.
We all have desires, but sometimes achieving them becomes difficult. You have to try something else, just as I did. I also urge my brothers and sisters to trust in God to give them the best.
For Joy News, I am Hannah Odame.
Hannah Odame there, ending this week's edition of Newsnight. We bring you Ghana Connect tomorrow. Do stay with us here on Joy 99.7 FM. I am Emefa Apawu. There's more when you log on to myjoyonline.com.